Hi, Cecilia here. Today we're going to look at Quizizz and what to do when somebody has given you a test, so a link, and how to assign it to your classes. So for this video you'll need an account with Quizizz already, which is pretty easy. Just log on to the site and you can follow the prompts, and also a link of a test that somebody's given to you. So we're going to look at editing that test, and we're going to consider how to make a copy for ourselves so we don't affect the original copy of the test, so that the person that gave it to you doesn't suddenly have your edits. Then we're going to look at deleting and adding questions to the test and changing the time allocated to each question if we want to use a timer. Then we're going to look at assigning the test with Google Classroom and without Google Classroom. And then we're going to look at how to view the results using Excel. So there's a button to download Excel. I'm just going to show you where the button is, and also looking at the results online. So let's open a web browser, so it doesn't matter what you use. So let's say somebody's given me the link to a quiz, so they shared it. Usually it's through email, so you click on the link and it takes you to something like this. So you'll see that there is the title there, and there's a sign and a start button. If I want to use it as is, I can click on the assign now, but if not, then I want to edit it, then the polite thing to do is to look for this button here, and when you hover it tells you what it does, so copy and edit. So if you click on that, it will make another copy for yourself. So now you can do whatever to the test and you won't be afraid, it won't be affecting the original copy. So now that I have my copy, I'm going to click on edit right there. And the first thing I'm going to do is, over here we have the title. I'm going to, I usually put my initials, so I'm just going to put Cecilia, my name today, and the year I've edited, just so that I know this is my copy and I edited this year. So if I edit something next year, I'll know that it's from next year. So first thing to do is click on the duplicate to make your own copy, and then change the title so you know you're editing your copy. Now we're in the edit. How do I know we're in the edit? Because there's a big button here that says publish. Once it's done, you publish it. So in the edit section, I can do a few things. So we're going to talk about deleting first. So first of all, let's look at the test. There are 17 questions. The red button means multiple choice. You can hover on it. This means checkbox, which means the kids have to tap on the answers and click agree. Whereas multiple choice, as soon as they touch the answer, that's their answer. So you can choose what you want to do. There's also fill in the blank, sorry. So they read it and then they write the answers. Now I'm going to edit this one first, show you how to edit. And the reason I like editing this is sometimes the answers could be a variation of that. So they have to type exactly that. So let's say the answer is obviously ocean, then I can type ocean, and I can do oceans, for example, if I wanted to accept that answer. But it doesn't really matter if you're going to manually mark it later. That is just helping you. Quizizz will recognize it as a correct answer. So when you edit, you go in there, click on the edit button, and then you can do whatever you want. Now, how do you delete? So that's the edit button. You can click the delete button, which is right there. Say we delete this question, delete, and it's gone. So if I look down here now, I only have 16 questions. Say I don't like this question either, I click delete, delete, just to show you again. Again, now we have 15 questions. Now, what does this button do? This button is pretty handy. Let's say I have this question here. What kids show is this from? Sesame Street, but I want to ask another question using that image, but I can't be bothered typing it. Then I'll click that button before, so duplicate, and I can change the second version of this. So I could say, what color is he? And I want the first answer to be the correct one, so I'm going to click on the tick button over here, and I'm going to write random colors in the other ones as wrong answers. Usually I would think about answers that are close to the correct answer, not to trick the kids, but to see if they pick that one, that it becomes a prompt to discuss those answers, why they picked that question, and then we can fix any misconceptions through the available wrong answers. Okay, so that's how you edit, delete, and how to create another question that's similar to it by duplicating. If you want to create a completely different question, then you go up here. You can have a new question by clicking that and the type of question you want. Notice that if it's an open-ended question, they can type a lot, but Quizizz recognizes it as a correct answer as long as they type. You can have multiple choice, checkbox, fill in the blank. It's pretty straightforward. Or you can search for a question. This is my favorite function. So let's say I'm doing a test on heat, for example. I'll type in heat. I'll be searching for heat, and I'm doing a science topic. So I'll click on, I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to zoom in a bit. Science, and I'm teaching year 9, so it'll be middle school. And then I can click through these tests and look at the questions inside each test. Let's say I really like this one. What is the transfer of heat by circulation of heated parts of a liquid to gas or gas? So that's convection. I agree with that. I can click add and it gets added to my test. If I see a question that I really like the image or part of it, I can always add it and then go into my test and then click edit later on. So I could make it personalized, you know, like putting a student's name, for example, in the story. So that's pretty much it with edit. So we've done adding a question, we've done deleting a question, we've done copying the actual file, and the time. So here that question is really easy, so it's 30 seconds, but you could change it to 60 seconds. And if you want all your questions to be the same, it's also there's a button here that says change for all questions, and if you do that, you'll see that all the other questions will be 60 seconds. If you're doing a test, I recommend putting way too much time so the kids will never run out of time, or just turn the timer off when you're assigning. Okay, so now they're like really long amount of time. I usually like using 45 seconds, 30 seconds if I'm teaching a concept with Quizizz and I want them to follow through the thinking behind it quickly. So the time is really handy for when you want to teach and get students to really focus. So then when you're done, click on the publish button. Okay, so you've added and you've deleted the questions you want, and you've got the number of questions you like. Now you've published it. What can you do? You can do two things. You can run the test as a live quiz. So if I'm on Zoom, this is what I'll do. I'll click on this and I will run it as classic. The students will be able to log in, and so you just keep getting clicking, and then so this I will show this on my Zoom, and the kids will type in the code in joinmyquiz.com, and then they can start when you click start. So they can't start, they can log in. As soon as you click start, they can all start at the same time. So if you're running a Zoom test, this is a good way to control the time, because you can start and end it yourself. If you're not running a Zoom class and you're going through the lesson and you want to revise a test, a topic, and you want to go through the question one by one as a teacher, as a whole class, then use instructor paste. But you can have a look at it yourself later on. Now, to run a test, another way to assign it is assigning by homework. And if I click on that, it gives you a deadline, which I would put as far away, and I will manually close it myself if I'm doing a test. Now, the important things are down here. If you're running a test, you have to make sure that you have this section here, participants' attempts, as 1. Otherwise, they can do the test and then come back in. You don't want that. And then you have to turn off the validate, otherwise they'll know which questions they've done right and wrong, and off the show answers. So the reasons these were turned on is because I usually use Quizizz to allow students to self-assess each lesson. So at the end of the lesson, they have a 5 to 10 minute quiz, and then they have 5 attempts, because usually the first attempt, they're like getting to understand what kind of questions they could be asked, and then they're seeing the results. So that's why the show answers was validate only. It tells them that it's green when they're right and red when they're wrong, and show answers after the activity. I only put validate because I want them to figure it out, but if it's a really hard topic and it's new, sometimes I leave it on so they can study backwards how a question was created. I mean, how to answer a certain question. In a test, this one has to be one, off and off when you're assigning, so that they only have one attempt. Now next, you click on, if you don't have Google Classroom, then you click on assign. It will take you to this page over here, and now you can either go live again, use that there, or you can share a link and you can post this link somewhere else. So I'll show you what happens when you use the link as a student. When you click on it, the student will be taken to the quiz, and they can click start and attempt the quiz that way. So they are in control of the quiz time. So not my favorite way to assign a test, because you're not starting the test all at the same time. So if you're on Zoom, it's better to use the other function. If you're assigning it through Google Classroom, you can go through here and you can click on your class, and you can click on the title, like for example it's a common sense task, and you can schedule a description. So you can write things like no calculators, 40 minutes, etc. And whatever you pick here, it will appear on Google Classroom as well. You can even pick a custom start time, and then it will load on Google Classroom at that time. If you've never used this, I recommend loading a sample test in there at a time where you know the kids are not online, and just checking so that you feel better about it actually loading at that particular time. So and obviously if you want the classes to be already there, then you also have to let me go back, have your classes set up. Wait, let me go to original page. Okay, to have your classes set up, it's down here. So on the front page of Quizizz, you go to classes, and you won't have this, but you will have Classroom here. Click on that, and then if you have Google Classroom, then it will pop up here, and as soon as you click save and all the buttons are green, it will link your classroom to your Quizizz. Now so that's it for assigning. So I think my preference would be to assign it live through Zoom, so that the students are there and on time, and you can click the start and end time. But if you want to set it as Google Classroom, you can also do that, and the benefit of that is that it usually marks it for you, and the mark is on Google Classroom. To end the test, you would go to reports, which is found over here, and you can tell that it's running because it says running, so it's live now. And you click on the task you want, and there'll be this big button over here that says end assignment. So if you click on it and it says, are you sure? You say yes, I want to end this assignment, it will end the assignment. So when you look at it now, see, it is now ended. Where is it? Oh, here it is, sorry. There it is, down here. It has ended. It has scheduled stuff at the top because it's about to happen. So it puts it in running priority, scheduled, and things that are completed. Now let's go to marking. So you click on reports, go to the test. So here we have the sample quiz, and in here straight away you can see who has attempted it. So if it's yellow, it usually, and a clock, it means this student has run out of time. If it's red, that means they've gotten 4 questions wrong and 13 questions correct. So green means correct, red wrong, yellow means run out of time. So this gives you a good quick overview. And here we have our magic button, download. If you download it, you can open it as an Excel file. So here we have Excel downloaded. You will see that the first column is your questions, and then it sums up how many questions you got correct, how many people have obtained that question incorrect, and how many people have unattempted it. And then it goes by student. So here me pretending to be a student is in the first column, and I ran out of time for 2 questions, see it's gray, and I answered 1 question incorrectly, which is red. And then the way I mark these tests, and one that I found useful was to go through a question and then assign marks. So if the first question was worth 1 mark, I would go across and write 1 for every student that has it right and 0 for any student that has it wrong. If the second question was worth 2 marks, I would go through the answers and give them 2 marks if they completely got it wrong, or 1 mark if they made some mistake, and 0 for the kids that did it wrong. So going across makes marking really easy because you know what you're looking for. For example, if it was 2 marks, 1 mark for the correct answer, let's say the answer was 32 centimeters, and 1 mark for units, and they put centimeters. Sometimes Quizizz will mark it wrong if they put extra spacing, or if they spell centimeters instead of writing cm. So sometimes Quizizz doesn't fully recognize that. So going across and typing 2s and 1, I don't know if you can see it, typing 2s and 1 helps going across helps me mark faster because I'm looking for the same answer. And let's just pretend I've done this particular student. What do I do next? So I'm just filling it in now. Let's say they're all worth 1 mark, the rest of the test. So what I would do next is go to the bottom cell and I would type in, I don't know if you can see it, I type in equal, SUM for sum, open bracket, and then I would highlight all the boxes for that particular student, whoops, not the name, and then click enter, and that would give me 15 marks out of a total. And then for the rest of the students, once I've done with that, I will move my mouse until I get to the corner and I see the symbol here, and then I drag across, and then it will give me the total of the other students. Whoops. Let me go and show you. Yeah, so the next students, I've only marked 3, so they only got 3, and the next student has 0 because they don't have anything. So to recap, type in equal sum, highlight the columns, and then move your mouse until you see the symbol and drag so that it does that same sum for all the other ones really quickly. Okay, thanks for watching. So we've gone through how to edit a test. Don't forget to always click on that duplicate file so you don't mess up the test that somebody has given you, and rename it so that you know that's your copy. And then we've talked about adding, subtracting questions. We talked about assigning it, and I find that if we're running a Zoom test, then assigning it live is easiest because you can click on start once all the kids have logged in, and you can click on end as well, and you can download later on. But in that respect, make sure that the kids have signed in with their school account so the names pops up, or make sure that when you're looking through, before you click the start button, then all the students' names are clear and not something random. Otherwise, use Google Classroom because Google Classroom will make them log in, and you'll have all the kids' results under their correct account. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!